Welcome to Best Wellness Interviews, where I interview successful people and they share their attitudes on wellness and some key strategies that they use for their health and well-being. I'm Kristine Best, wellness strategist, and I'm your host. And today I'd like to welcome Eda Utku. How are you, Eda?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me, Kristine. What a beautiful podcast you have. And I'm a huge, huge fan of your work as well. And yeah, it brings so much wholeness listening to songs.
Thank you very much, Ada. I really care about people because I hate to see people that are unwell, that are stooped over, that can't walk properly. It really grieves my spirit, and I'm trying to do everything I can to bring an awareness to everyone so that they can live their best life. So anyway, thank you. Welcome to my podcast. Why don't you start off by telling us a little about you and what you do?
Yeah, so I am someone who's always been interested in life stories. In every job I worked, I was always by either the water cooler doing the chit chat, but asking like the deeper questions, or I used to smoke, believe it or not. But the reason that I smoked was because people shared so many interesting things when they were out on smoke breaks. And so that was my reason for smoking, to hear all those like interesting tidbits about their lives. And I didn't really have the courage to step outside of the 9 to 5 until I had children. And then, things do change and you reprioritize your life and it becomes more about balance. So after having my 7, who's now 7, I did not go back to the 9 to 5 because I also started to realize that it burnt me out. I didn't like being in front of a computer. I did not like doing admin work. It didn't really give me the whole brain exercise that I craved. And I started getting in touch with my creative side. And so the courage came, and I started by volunteering first with palliative care services at a local hospital, capturing life stories of people in palliative care for their families. And then I just, it was such a natural fit because that's what I always wanted to do. That's what I was always interested in. And then I started mymemoirmaker.com, where I work with younger people who have, a longer chunk of time. We never know how long we have really, but they're not in palliative care. They're in reasonably good health, and they're taking the time to reflect on their lives and write it with a system of prompts that I provide. So that's been really rewarding.
Cool. But you've got a couple of books out, haven't you?
I do. I started by writing my own story. Well, actually, you know what? I started by writing my mom's story during COVID. So, oops, there we go.
Yep.
Yep. So, I did not have a really good relationship with mom growing up. She always seemed too stressed out, too many expectations, just really closed off to enjoying life in general. I think maybe that's the thing of that generation as well. People are always wanting to get everything perfect before they allow themselves to enjoy life. And she was sort of caught up in that mindset. So we never really had, those enjoyable, playful moments, really. It was just like she was always telling me what to do. But when we sat down and I got to learn about her childhood and how she was brought up, it made perfect sense. And I had so much empathy for her and, how far she's come. So it really allowed for that bonding to happen and taking the time. And then I wrote my life story, and then I developed a system of prompts that I found that I always ask people. And, it's a lot of the fun stuff, like, your favorite home remedies when you were growing up, or, favorite recipes, the comfort foods your mom used to make. And when I think about those things and I, talk to other people about these things, I find so much comfort, and I know they do as well. It brings up back such lovely, cozy memories, and that's what we capture in the books. And this is one of my books. It's called I'm Open to Creating Your Book, and it's my life story, and it just sort of shows how I came from, my childhood, which was very regimented. I went to school in the Turkish public school system, so very military, to how I came to embrace my creative side and, brought that joy of creativity to other people to look at their lives and honor in a creative way in the form of a book.
Well, that's very, very interesting, Ada, because there are so many wellness aspects to what you've just shared. So first of all, I'm going to ask you about the smoking. How did you ditch that?
I'm a bit naughty. I do find myself craving a cigarette every once in a while. And I know it's not good for my vocal cords because, like, if I sneak one, and I just sneak one once a month or whatever with a friend who still smokes, um, I always get a scratchy throat like the next day. So I know it's not good for me, but it is sort of a habit that I never really ditched, but I'd like to. So I still sneak one here and there.
So yeah, even people who are successful authors have issues they want to overcome health-wise or wellness-wise. And you know, the things that you were talking about, having a regimented childhood and that kind of suppressed your creativity, that actually affects your happiness and your ability to really enjoy life. So I think, you probably didn't start enjoying life until you were being creative and really discovered yourself.
Absolutely. And the catalyst for that was, I think, was being pregnant and realizing that I'm not going to keep doing the grind anymore. It's just not happening because I just have more needs. I've got a baby growing inside me. And also stumbling across the artist's way. I think when I was ready, the book just came my way and I started doing all the exercises, doing the journaling prompts, and morning pages is a big part of it. So every morning you write down what's on your mind, and that's what got me started on the journey to capture my life story.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you started to put wellness things and fitness things into your lifestyle when you were having children, because it makes you aware of what am I going to share with my children? What example am I going to be to my children? And also, I want to be around for my children, right? So it starts becoming a parent really drives home a lot of issues about our lifestyle and how we're living our life, and it affects our choices, doesn't it?
Absolutely. That's when the change started for me.
Yeah. For me, I must be weird or something. My life journey in wellness started when I was 7. When I read, so my parents bought me a set of children's encyclopedias because maybe I asked way too many questions because I like to learn, right, as a kid. So they bought me these encyclopedias. And I read something in there about the human body, how there were 2 different types of cells in our blood. It wasn't just red blood cells, but there were white blood cells and they had different roles. One was involved in our immune system and that sort of thing. And the other ones were carrying oxygen. And that lit me up as a kid, a little kid. I was like fascinated. And at 10, I healed myself from asthma. And you know what? That I didn't know at the time, but that set me on the course of my life. Is there something like that in your life that set you on a course?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. As a child, I always knew, like, my daydreams involved having, a library of books behind me that I'd written. So I always knew, I always had this vision of writing lots of books. However, going through school and, going through parents' expectations, and they, want you to be practical, to earn a living, to make money, all of that stuff. I just forgot about all these things that I naturally was inclined to do. So I had a very strong knowing what I wanted to do. I will come up with all these titles for the books that I'd write. And then they got that vision got knocked out of me until, when I had a little bit of time off the regular grind, and then I reconnected with that. And yeah, so it's been a journey of coming back to what I always knew.
It's funny, yeah, because when I was a kid, my teachers used to write on my report cards, you have a flair for writing. I wonder what
Mm.
you're going to do with that. And I always wrote in some form or another. I used to create my own birthday cards for everybody and I put personal verses in there because I wrote poetry. And I always wanted to write songs, but it wasn't until later in life. And now I put words to music and I write my own songs. So it's interesting how things happen in your life and you come back to what your passion is, you know? Well,
Absolutely.
some of us do, not everybody, because not everybody discovers that or pursues that in themselves.
I
And some,
feel I'm very fortunate. Some people will think, look, being a woman, we don't have as many opportunities, and we don't, when you look at the pay scales, women are not paid as much. However, I think as a woman, I'm allowed to express myself a lot more freely as a man would. And I don't think men really get that break because they don't have baby, like they don't give birth. So they don't get like that break away from the workforce. So it was fortunate that I did get that break for me to reconnect with what brings light to my life. And sometimes in the mornings when I feel a little bit down, I listen to I Rise. And that really, like, that's one of your songs.
oh,
And
cool.
the lyrics, it just connects with me. And I just like, okay, it's time for my spirit to rise now. Even though, like,
Cool.
initially it's like, ah, man, I'm so tired this morning. But then I listen to the song and it just, helps me out.
Well, that's music to my ears. Because for somebody to listen to the songs that I've written and to actually get something out of it, enjoy the lyrics, that is music to my ears, because I purposely write songs that have really cool messages for people. So thank you very much for listening to my music,
And I'm going
Eda.
to also add, like when I was coming of age in the mid to late 90s, the lyrics were not very positive. We ended up listening to a lot of like people's depression and like, which is fair. Like that's fine. We get depressed. It's great. Like, that I'm not judging depression, but a lot of the music was around that, and a lot of those artists did end up committing suicide, and it was quite dark, I think, for all of us. Like that was sort of a dark sort of
Yeah,
time mental health wise for a lot of
there
people.
are still songs being written, particularly rap songs that are very angry,
Yes.
that sort of thing. And that's not healthy to listen to that sort of music because it makes you the same as what is you're hearing in the lyrics. It makes
Yeah.
you that way. And so you become what you expose yourself to. So that's why I purposely put, even I've written songs about sad stuff,
Yeah.
but there are lines in there that are empowering.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So so people relate to a song, oh, that's me all over. Oh, and that is a good line. I could use that, right? And that's why I put things in there to empower people
Yeah.
because music is quite powerful rather than having to tell somebody something and they won't listen to you, right? But you put it in a piece of music and they listen to it and they take it on board and they initiate the change.
Yeah.
That becomes more powerful than somebody telling them what to do.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate people listening to my songs. So thank you.
Yeah, and look, you put out some great stuff that's really good for the soul. Like it is so soothing for the soul.
And that's part of your wellness as well.
Yeah.
If it because it actually starts to stimulate the organs that uh, excrete hormones that make you feel good.
Yeah, like
It's
helps me see through difficulty. Like you could have a song about difficult times, but it could be based in faith and trusting, that we do come out of those difficult times. And then that has such a healing effect, even though
yeah,
it might be about, not so great situations happening to the songwriter. But I think you always have like faith and hope, and that's what your
yeah,
songs give me.
cool. Yeah, that's very important for people to have some light at the end of a tunnel, you know.
Yeah.
So that's definitely an effect on wellness. And it's not just me as a songwriter, it's you writing things in your books, you
Yeah.
know, your words count. And it means something to the people who buy your book or give the book to someone else, you know. Um, so it's really important we write things that are real
Yeah.
and touch on hard subjects or
Yeah.
difficult topics, but still have that like a way out at the end or that hope so
Yeah.
that people, because that affects mental health. And when we talk about wellness, we're not just talking about nutrition and exercise, we're talking about mental health, spiritual health, social health, and a
Yeah.
whole lot of stuff, a life balance, you know. And it's not just at home, it's at work, it's wherever you are. Wellness is all of you.
Yeah.
So tell me a little about what's important to you in wellness in your life now.
Yeah, so I'll go through my daily routine. So it's really important to me that in the morning I take some time to myself before the rest of the family wakes up. So in that time, I either like jot down some thoughts that I've had that were a bit difficult to process, so a bit of journaling, or like meditation. It could be just 5 minutes of noticing my breath coming in and out to clear, and that clears my head. And once the kids start waking up, that then I'm able to meet them with calm, and they're, inevitably they're kids. They might not be in a great mood when they wake up. They might not want to go to school. Sometimes they push back on school. They're just, had it with it. And because I filled my cup by waking up a bit earlier and doing all these things that, are good for my soul and spirit, I'm able to be a positive influence and, sit with their difficult emotions and guide them out of it so that we have a positive morning together. Also, like when I have a shower, I listen to music. I
Okay.
listen to your music. So shower time is like a great time to put positive messages into my head. And
Fantastic.
once the kids are in school or if we're having holidays, I try to carry that sense of calm, but also knowing that I have to give myself a break. So, I try to, I either ask other people to help me with looking after the kids, like my partner, who is a
Yep.
male, and it doesn't come really naturally to him, but I have to like tap that resource because I can't be, giving all the time. I need to take like a little break around noontime to refill my cup, do a bit.
Everybody
Yeah,
needs at least 20 to 30 minutes a day, every day,
yeah,
where they have no interruptions, no
yeah.
commitments, no nothing, just you, yourself, and peace and quiet. Everybody needs that 20 to 30 minutes every day.
Yeah, so I cherish my walks. I'm fortunate to live across a nature reserve. So I go on a walk, spend some
Nice.
nature, and that's really good to replenish my spirit. And then my evening routine for sleeping is I've got a magnesium spray, which I spray on the soles of my feet, my partners, and my kids. And we've got some lavender that we've put on ourselves, which is nice and soothing. Or if I feel like I'm too restless, I have a little hot bath before settling down into bed for myself. And if my kids are a little bit too restless, I also get them into the bath with a bit of lavender smell.
Yeah, cool. That's a good way to keep the place calm.
Yeah, makes a big difference, I found. Like, I love the
Yep.
smell, it's so soothing.
Yeah, a hot bath and hot drinks before bedtime, like a hot chocolate even, because like a
Mhm.
cocoa, because the milk has got the calcium in it, and that's what helps promote serotonin and aids with sleep. Oh, it's
Yeah,
got tryptophan in it as well. So there's various things in milk that help to promote a more happy, calm, relaxed state and promote sleep. So that, yeah, they're good things that you have introduced into your family. So what kind of diet do you have? Do you eat fresh foods, healthy foods, or what sort of foods do you like?
Yeah, so we're lucky that in our community there's this man who goes to the markets, like the farmers markets, and he brings us a box of fresh produce. So I pay him like $45 for our weekly produce, and it's done for me. And it's fresher than like what you would get at the supermarket. Because
Absolutely.
gets
Yep.
it from the source, and they stay in the fridge longer, which is also really good. He's been bringing us a lot of, like, he brought some pumpkin, which I made pumpkin soup with, and also I love, having lived in the U.S., I love pumpkin spice. Pumpkin pie. I know in
Yep.
Australia, pumpkin is not really a sweet dish, but I enjoy it as a pie filling as well. So that was what happened this week. I a lot of pumpkin, bit of squash. I do, like, on Mondays we don't eat meat, so I do like a vegetable dish with over rice. This week it had a lot of, like, squash, bit of celery, spinach leaves, some green beans. Just put it into a wok, stir fried it over some rice. So Mondays are usually really, like, try to keep it plant-based or fish. Fish is all right for no meat Monday, we find.
Okay, cool.
We can have a lot of protein. I think we were overdoing it with red meat, so that's why we introduced the no meat Monday. So we, get some more vegetables and fish in our diet. Rest of the week, it can be like, now I've got some chicken, butterfly chicken, which I'm going to do for tonight's dinner. And then unfortunately, like, lunch wise, I do a lot of snacking. So I do intermittent fasting for myself. I stop eating, or I aim to stop eating at 7 p.m. But I fall into, like, unhealthy snacking habits sometimes. Like last night I did, because the a pumpkin pie was just calling my name. And then, like, in the morning, I don't eat till about 11. So, and then after that, it's like, I try to do healthy snacking with some nuts and things, but sometimes I can fall into potato chips and
Oh,
Mars
yeah.
bar, all of that, depending on how I'm feeling. But it gives me that boost initially, and then I crash.
Crash. Yep.
Yeah. So try to
That's
stay
what
away
people,
from that, but not always.
that's what most people don't realize is that when they drink a sugary drink or an
Mm,
energy drink, it's full of sugar. And that
mm,
gives them an initial boost, but then they have a big low after that. And people don't realize it puts a lot of strain on your pancreas and your
yeah.
liver because they have to excrete the hormones that um, store the sugar, which is like carbohydrate, or get it out for energy. And so that puts a strain on your body. It's better to eat regular small meals and
Regular small meals. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, because then your body is actually burning the fuel that it's digesting as it
Mhm.
passes through your intestines, your bloodstreams coming to get all the nutrients and take it to your body, as well as like the carbohydrate for what it's glucose for energy. So your body is using that energy as it's being digested, right? As it's passing through your body, it's using that energy as it's processed and broken down by the body. So if you eat a lot of food or drink a lot of sugary stuff, then your body has to try and store it somewhere. So you're overworking your body. Yeah, so it's better to eat regular small meals so that your body's got constant supply of energy and it doesn't have to dip into those insulin and uh, other things. Yeah, so it's more friendly for your body to do that, to eat small regular meals.
That's good to know. Yeah, I always felt a bit bad about snacking, but I guess it's what I snack on. Yeah, because I try to keep it to, like, would you recommend, like, nuts, and, like, what would be some good things to snack on?
Yeah, almonds, Brazil nuts, hazelnuts, all sorts of nuts, and then there are even sunflower seeds. and pumpkin seeds, pepitas. They're quite nutritious, right? Also, things like cheese and crackers is just fine, or
Love
carrots.
cheese and crackers.
Carrot sticks. I love cheese and carrot sticks, actually. All those sorts of things are okay to have as snacks. So it's all about what you eat over the period of the day. So if you keep the meals small and the intake of food regular, you've got a regular supply of energy, and your body doesn't crave, oh, I've got to go and have some sugar, because it's happy. Your body's happy, you know? Yeah. So that's a better way to go. And it's easier on your digestion rather than eating 3 big meals, or, yeah, 2 big meals or something. So, it's better to spread it out and have 4 or 5 smaller meals.
Yeah.
They don't have to be meals as such. They can be, as you say, snacks, but healthy snacks.
Yeah.
I bought some cucumbers at the supermarket the other day and walked home, because I like to walk, as part of my exercise routine. So I only carry small amounts back. And I had these cucumbers. Well, I ate a whole one on the way back. I just wanted a snack of, healthy cucumber for some reason. But there are nutrients in there that are good for your body. Same like I just eat a carrot.
Yeah.
Things like that. So yeah, snacking on those sorts of things, an apple, people think that's more appetizing than a cucumber, but I've always been a savory girl, not a sweet tooth girl, which is probably a good thing. So tell me, okay, so you take the kids for walks. What else do you do as a family or individually for exercise? So
so we have a personal trainer for my partner and I, because I really recognize that we needed to get out of the couch more and get more active. So that's 1 hour a week. But then my GP said you need to have 2.5 hours per week where you are getting some sort of aerobic exercise where you feel your heartbeat is going faster. So I'm always looking for ways to get more, fast heartbeats going. I tried going for runs, and I could still do it. Like, I can do it. It's just, I don't know. I'm just, my knees start hurting. I don't have a lot of even terrain here, where it's very hilly and all of that. And I play tennis, so we are lucky that the kids are also starting to pick up on tennis. We have a tennis wall right across the street. So I've been like just hitting the balls against the wall, and that's been pretty good exercise.
Yeah, that's good. It sounds like you're doing all the right things, but you don't have to run. Make sure you do your stretching for your legs, and wear the right sort of shoes. And after you've exercised, make sure you do some stretching to cool down the muscles. And because, if it's hilly and you're walking up and down hills, well, that's putting quite a bit of strain on your calves, which cross your knee joint, but also your quadriceps. So also getting a massage can help with keeping your leg muscles in the right tone. So watch as long as you do a heel toe. So it's a heel strike, toe push off. That's very important. You don't want to slap your feet. A lot of people, when they jog, they kind of run flat-footed or on their toes. And that's really bad, because you're not using the feet and the ankle and the calf muscles as they should be. And that will promote injuries in the feet and ankles and knees. So yeah, it's very important that you have good technique when you're walking or running. It's got to be heel toe. Yeah.
Also, I add a bit of yoga, Pilates. I try to do a class a week. And I'm trying to get my kids into yoga. So we do like just sun salutations for like a minute or two.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's excellent. That's more than a lot of people do. A lot of people just sit on the couch, watch TV, play video games.
Oh yeah, that was me.
So it sounds like you're doing all the right things. It's great. Love to hear that. So, do you have any things that you do community-wise, or something greater than, like a project that's greater than you?
Yeah. Oh, look, this is one that I started just recently. It's called Letters of Hope. And you sign up and you write a letter, an uplifting letter, because I love to write. I'd like to write messages that would help other people maybe get out of being stuck in some way. And you send it to the lady who runs this program, and then she forwards it on to people who want to hear, who want to receive letters to help them, get through something that might be difficult. So I've been really enjoying doing that. I also
That's
volunteer
awesome.
across. I love op shops. I love op shopping. I love to buy secondhand clothing because I feel like otherwise it's just like it ends up on the landfill and the fashion changes way too quickly. So I love my op shop volunteering. And what else? Oh, I'm also trying to get into doing some coaching and mentoring for girls from underprivileged backgrounds to pursue a higher education. So I'm in the process of
Awesome.
applying and going through that.
So, how do you feel that makes, does that make a difference to your life? Does it make a difference to the way you feel?
Absolutely. I feel so much more connected, so much more positive. Like it just makes me feel so good.
So that's a big part of wellness when we do things for others. See, this world has gotten a little bit insular, do you find? A lot of people are just all about themselves, and
Yeah.
they go to work, and they don't actually do anything in the communities. People don't even know their next door neighbors in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
There's so doing things like this that are charitable make you feel good. You're helping someone, but you're
Absolutely.
also helping yourself and your family, or all your immediate contacts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it has a big bearing on um, the endorphins that flow around your body when you feel good. Exercise does that for you, but doing charitable works does that too, because you get that warm fuzzy feeling when you've done something to help, and that makes a big difference to our wellness, your overall wellness. Because if you're stressed and you're negative, you've got cortisol sort of coursing around through your body, and that is destructive to all the cells in your body. It actually um, it breaks your body down, and it causes illness in the long run. It can cause like heart problems, digestive problems, ulcers, breathing problems, skin problems, hair falling out, like so many different things. And then other diseases start to form because it's affecting your immune system and all sorts of
And
stuff. So
also, I'll add, like, when I'm around people who are really tense, they tend to be like a bit snappy, not so nice to be around. So they can actually find themselves pretty lonely because they're just
it's
difficult to be around.
yeah, well, people will avoid them, won't they? Because
Yeah,
people don't like being around people that are going to drag them down or drain them. So,
yeah,
but if we can help those people change the way they're thinking about
yeah,
their issues, then we help them get out of that pit.
yeah.
So it's really awesome that you're doing these charitable works. I love it. You've got a pretty good lifestyle, and obviously setting a good example for your kids too.
Yeah. I mean, look, balance is really important to me. So I kind of like try to think of it as a pie chart. Like, am I doing enough stuff for my spirit? Because spirit is very important to me. If I don't like
Yep.
feel like I'm fulfilled in some way, my motivation drops. Exercise, again, they all work hand in hand to support and promote each other. Exercise, family time, friends, and I always know when I'm out of balance. If I've just been around family too long, I'm like, okay, now it's time to sort of withdraw and like maybe go do something spiritual, like where I can just sort of feel myself for a bit of a change. And I
Yep.
always was very reluctant to ask for some time for myself. But now I can see like how it benefits my family. So I'm like, okay, it's perfectly legitimate for me to have time to myself. Like you said, the 20, 30 minutes a day is essential.
It is essential. And it actually promotes better thoughts, more like your brain will work more, think more critically, which
Yeah.
means it will problem solve better. It'll think, you'll concentrate better. And if you go for a walk at the same time, it's actually pumping oxygen and glucose around your body. So your brain works better from that, but also you're promoting good circulation in your lower limbs. And so in this day and age with technology, everybody sits so much more. It's very important to actually get up and move about. So having that time out, that space, just gives you room to think and put things into perspective and get in touch with yourself again. And by the time you get back to work, your mood is improved, your concentration is improved, you're more productive, you're better to be working with somebody or with your family or whatever it is you're doing. So that time out is very productive, even though you're not seemingly doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's time well spent. Well, Ada, you know what? That's been awesome interviewing you, and I'm very impressed with the things that you're achieving. And I really want you to do something about the smoking because you don't need it. And I would love to coach you on that because it is something you can beat if you want to.
Okay, that sounds really good to me. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you very much for being on my podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so inspired, and I'm so lucky to have someone with such a positive outlook on life. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ada.